This is Jim Passy in Yukon, Idaho. He's actually purchased some of the polycarbonate that CatchSunlight.com sells, and that he's installed on a portion of his greenhouse. We're going to take a look at his greenhouse and capture some ideas in terms of how he's engineered his structure so he can grow lettuce year-round in a zone 4, zone 5 climate. It's very cold here. So Jim, you were a bricklayer professionally, weren't you?
Yes, yep, that's...
So you have some real skills, and with those skills, he made this fabulous hydroponic greenhouse. So I just wanted to be able to walk through this with him showing the way. This is really neat.
I had some skills, so I thought, heck, I can put something like that together pretty well. So I went down to the local masonry yard, and they gave me some old block, and they gave me some old stone, and on the job, I found some paneling and stuff that people were throwing away.
So Jim, tell me about the glass. Glass has a really high transmissibility. Did you just get crazy hot in there because of the glass?
Well, that's part of the issue. That's part of the idea that's good with the Walipini. 5 foot from ground to windows, or to ground level outside, 5 feet. A lot of people go deeper than that. Part of the issue during the summers, they get too hot, right? Where this is underground, during this winter, it maintains heat, so you have very, very little heating that you have to do if you decide to grow through the winter. During the summer, you have a natural cooling that happens also. It never gets all that hot in there. Right now, I'm 90 degrees in here, and it's what, 85 outside or so. So even though this is a greenhouse in the middle of the summer, it's not overheating. I have a door on one side, a window on the other, and a vent on the upper part, and I just open those up, and it's extremely unusual for it to get warm enough that it's an issue. This is something that I'm constantly working on, upgrading, redoing. When I built this, my initial intent was that I would just plant things on the ground, right? Well, when you look at this, when you think about it, if everything's on the ground, they're in the shade way too much, especially during the winter. So I just put them on raised beds up here. Now, even in the middle of the winter, these beds all are completely in the sun all day long. When I initially built this thing, aquaponics was where I was headed. I was going to put fish over there in the corner where you use the natural fertilizer that comes from the fish, and you pump that through your plants. And so I said, before I do that, I'm going to do hydroponics first and figure out exactly how that works. Got into the hydroponics and realized after a little while that the aquaponics probably just wasn't worth it for me. But as far as the fertilizer for the hydroponics, so cheap, so easy, not worth the hassle of the fish unless you're doing it for the fish. Lettuce loves hydroponics. This is called a crack key method, where all I do is I just take, and then I'll take one of these small ones. I just grow them in a little cup. Just put a whole bunch of lettuce seeds in there. When they're about big enough, I'll take them, just put them in one of these things, drop it down in through this hole here, fill this up with hydroponic solution. It isn't just water, and you can see that I do nothing. All I do is I fix it, put them in there, and the next thing I do is harvest them. No fertilizer, no weeding, nothing. And these things have gone crazy. I think I planted these they were just little starts about a month ago, and this is where I'm at now. These are tomato plants. They're also running crack key method. All I did is just fill this with water, drop those tomatoes down in there, and then stake them up, and look at the size of those. I've got a pool down in here full of of the correct kind of water. I have a pump down in there that's set on a timer. So every two times a day, the pump turns on like that. See, the water goes in there, and then as this fills up, as the water gets up to this level, or whatever it does, the stuff that's in there that I'm growing it in, which is perlite, it gets saturated with the water. It runs for about an hour. All of the excess water goes here, goes down this tube, and back down into my into my bin there. I have a float down here, so when that bucket, when it goes down, the float goes down, opens up the water, so I have 50 gallons of water that will keep this thing down here from running dry.
Hey Jim, tell us the difference between the glass glazing and the polycarbonate glazing. Which one do you think works better?
The glasses worked fine. Like I said, I'm not sure if I should have and could have gone with the poly and maybe had a better product. The windows are free. That's why I use them. I have 2 windows I think that I've broken, and I don't know if this is about 15 years old. I was worried that I would break more windows, but that hasn't happened. I just open that during the summer and just leave it open all summer long.
Because it really is a magical structure what you have. So this is really neat. So this particular structure is a 16 feet by 12 feet wide greenhouse. It's at just under 200 square feet. Keep in mind the International Residential Code allows you to go up to 200 square feet without a permit. You know, we have a real problem in our greenhouses with aphids and with pests. You know, we don't use pesticides in our greenhouse. And our lettuce gets covered by aphids and worms. Jim, how do you take care of that in your greenhouse?
It is just not a problem. I just don't have it here. I don't know if it's just lucky or what am I doing different, but when the lettuce gets really, really old, when it's bigger than it should be, all of a sudden I do have to deal with some aphids. But generally, you harvest them, get rid of them, and they're gone.
If you don't mind, I'm going to just take a picture of some of your outdoor garden. Your garlic is incredible.
This is garlic here, and that's garlic down there, and this is all onion. This is all onion here.
What did you do differently with your soil? Why is it so productive here?
This particular square is very particularly mitt-lighter. Sand, sawdust is the soil. I've added some different things to it, fertilizers. I put some different compost in it this year. The best thing about the mitt-lighter method with particularly garlic and onions is the soil is so loose. There's nothing that's restricting those bulbs from growing. And I get some huge onions in this particular square. This, of course, gives me an early start. I can throw a cover over the thing and keep it from freezing. And
good luck on your greenhouse, and look forward to seeing next year's harvest.